Welcome to Coming In Hot. We are back with an incredible episode. I am so excited to be talking to these two powerhouses because you know me, I am all about looking and feeling your absolute best. And I think we do have power in that. We do have some control in that. And I think we forget to speak up and advocate for ourselves. So I have Whitney and Danielle here from Sakara Life. And if you guys have not heard about it, you're living under a rock. I feel like you guys revolutionized the at-home delivery, like healthy food that you can easily make at home. And I think that's just a phenomenon, especially for moms, women in second half that don't have a lot of time, but we really do care about how we're feeling to show up for our family. So Danielle, Whitney, thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thanks
Thank
for
you for
having
having
us.
us
Of
and that sweet intro. Thank you.
Of course, you guys, I love supporting women in general. We don't have enough platforms that are speaking out for us, especially in second half. And I am just in awe of what's been coming up and the evolution of women creating brands that are actually by women for women. So guys, can you give me a little background on each of you just so people understand how this all came together?
Sure. Yeah, Whitney and I have known each other for a long time, since seventh grade, actually.
Oh, the best.
Yeah, we grew up together in Sedona, which, Caroline, have you been to
I
Sedona?
have. It is, I mean, I don't know what else to say, but like magical,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
it's pretty magical. And I think we were very lucky to grow up around a lot of people who deeply cared about health and the connection between our minds, our joy, happiness, and what we eat and how we nourish.
The way you grew up, was it very mindful? Because, here, a lot of the times you hear it's like everyone's eating junk food and fast food, and I'm guilty of it too. Was your environment growing up definitely like on that healthier, very conscious side?
I don't
Mine was.
Yours was, Whitney?
I think
Yeah.
the whole, but I think this is where we get really messed up, right? Is
Yeah,
like
tell me.
they're not mutually exclusive. You can be on the path to wellness and taking care of yourself and eat French fries. And that's actually a core part of the brand and our ethos. And in my household, I grew up with a single mother on food stamps. Like health food wasn't always an option for us. It was like, food stamps cover a particular set of foods on the shelf. And we would go to like food banks at the church, and that was where we would get like fresher food.
Okay.
But it didn't mean that the conversation was not around. Like our main grocery store was a grocery store that owned their own farm, and they had in the kind of prepared food section, it was like tofu steaks and rastas and like people who just were embodied and understood the mind body food connection. So even if you didn't embody it yourself, you got to be a witness to that. And I think that is really important and definitely impacted how both of us grew up.
My parents moved to Sedona in 76, and part of the draw of going to Sedona was this alternative way of thinking, being around others who had who were questioning just the regular way of living and who were seeking more, who were seeking alternative health and healing and spirituality. And so even if your own household, like Danielle was saying, didn't always reflect that, you were surrounded by it.
It was your environment, right?
Yeah. And for me, my mom was the type where we were rarely allowed to have the Wonder Kids bread in the household. It was always
Oh,
Ezekiel bread in the
yeah.
freezer. And I'm like, Mom, why is our bread always frozen? This is so annoying.
It's
And
always like you don't want to be the kid with the weird stamp, right? Like you
yeah,
always.
nobody wanted to trade lunch with me. Um, and from time to time, we'd get things that we wanted to have, but it was like a sometimes thing versus
Right.
an all the time thing.
Thank God that we're all thinking that way now, and with wonderful women like you paving the way of seeing that it's all in moderation, but there is a real connection. And I think that's what you were talking about, something like the blue zones, and you see how food has a direct impact. So I would love to know
Yeah.
your thoughts behind that.
I think first and foremost, it's about your relationship to how you nourish yourself. And so that was really the foundation of why we started Sakara. So, I was suffering from disordered eating patterns, body image issues, as I know so many young women and men suffer from. And I wasn't necessarily ever diagnosed with eating disorders, but I clearly had them. I thought
Me
my
too.
worth was wrapped up in my thinness. And that meant I dieted for most of my life from about 9. That's the earliest age I remember
Wow.
dieting. and trying to hide some diet pills from my mom. And I tried every diet under the sun from about 9 to 23 and ended up getting really sick. And that was one of my aha moments was I studied pre-med and worked in a hospital for a couple of years, and we saw patients with late stage lifestyle diseases, and there was nothing I could do for them because it was late stage. And so the only option, and certainly the only option that the cardiologist I was working with could give them was pharmaceutical drugs or sometimes surgical intervention. But at that point, you could no longer really manage it through lifestyle. And so I was like, who's getting to these people before it's late stage lifestyle disease and you're dealing with all the aftermath and downstream effects of it? And I was on the path to having my own lifestyle disease because I didn't know how to eat. I didn't know how to nourish. And what we're learning about chronic diseases is that they stem from what we do, the small things that we do every single day that can lead to what I had, which was IBS. That was kind of like an umbrella term for like something's going on. We're not really sure. It's connected to your gut. But it was absolutely my relationship to how I decided to fill my plate, how I decided to nourish. I didn't think I was worthy of nourishment. I thought food was the enemy. I thought food was going to take away my worth in the world. And so I had to really renegotiate that. And as part of that, I decided to switch my track from medicine and study nutrition and understand, like, what does it mean to have a healthy body? How do you think about food as nourishment when we're only really taught that food is about calories and carbs and points and pounds? And I think for a while that kind of exited and diet culture maybe exited. And now I think, unfortunately, it's really come back really strongly. And so Sakara was really built on that foundation of first you have to acknowledge that you are worthy of nourishment. And then from that place, you start to make the right decisions. So if we can deliver you the answer, ready to eat, that it will actually start to change your mind. And that's what I found, that my relationship to how worthy I was of nourishment, my relationship to food, it was like I had to fake it until I made it a little. I had to just eat the food I knew was really good for me. And then eventually, and much more quickly than I could have imagined, everything started to change. I started to feel really good. And then my decisions about how I filled my plate and how I nourished were reflective of how can I feel better? I want to keep this and I want to feel better and better and better. And then I started to make better and better choices. And it was around that time that I really hit that rock bottom and decided something must change. That Whitney was at her own rock bottom and we were living in New York City together, and we knew something really had to change, and we both came to food as medicine.
Whitney, what was your rock bottom? It doesn't have to be the depths of alcoholism for it to be rock bottom. There is this weird gray area. And, we don't really know how to take care of ourselves and how to really nourish ourselves without feeling guilty or feeling anxious or feeling freaked out. I was the same. I had frozen yogurt, I think, every single day through high school, like disgusting. I ate chemicals for lunch every single day. I thought being skinny was better than being healthy. So Whitney, what ended up happening that your health got affected?
Yeah. So mine was, I had been struggling with terrible cystic acne for over a decade of my life. Just big, red, painful cysts all over my face. And I went to see so many dermatologists, and none of them were asking me, what are you eating? None of them were asking me, are you going to the bathroom every day? Which I wasn't. And that's a vital sign. If you're constipated, that's a sign that something's going on in your gut that you need to work on. So,
and your skin too, right, Whitney? Your skin too is usually a tell-all.
Yes, it is. But I thought that my skin was the thing that I needed to be fixing and working on. So I was coming at it from a topical outside perspective. I was doing all of these creams and acid peels and lasers that just would peel layers off of my face. I was trying, then I tried to go from the inside, but with rounds and rounds of antibiotics, with Accutane, which doesn't get to the root cause. None of those things get to the root cause. They're just covering up the symptoms. Again, like Accutane shrinks your oil glands. Well, why do you have overproductive oil glands? You need to get to that root cause.
Right.
And so for me, it was that aha moment of realizing I didn't have a skin problem. I had a gut problem. I had a health problem. And this is where it was showing up for me. And for different people, it shows up in different places. Maybe it's showing up as chronic sinus infections or tonsillitis, or bacterial vaginosis or yeast infections, or just different things for different people. But if we can focus on overall health, starting with the gut, then you're setting yourself on a really good foundation to start to work on these microbiome imbalances.
So, ladies, how did this get started? Because I feel like the food delivery was your first, right? Was that the first? Because I personally, we're obsessed with the gummies now.
Everyone
So-
else, I know, they're
Just
so
putting it
good.
out there, the metabolism, guys, you may want to get your hands on some.
No.
Just so you know, my husband is obsessed,
Yeah,
They're
no,
really
which is
they're-
like for men, like honestly, because all of us at this age, of course, we all want to feel good,
at
and
this point, everyone needs metabolic help.
they
Everyone.
really do.
So, regardless of age, everyone needs metabolic help because everything intercepts your metabolism, like the
Right.
toxin, the stress, not sleeping. So that was one of the big reasons we started this metabolic umbrella from our powder to now our gummies.
Have you tried the sleep, our night service
It's
supplement?
so that's something that I struggle because I'm in menopause. You know, I'm in postmenopause. So I'm telling you, anxiety, sleep is
Yeah.
like the insomnia is crazy, you guys. And it's like that restful sleep that you just can't get anymore. It's incredible. And I actually love the multivitamin too. Because
Yeah, no,
honestly, I need two steps. I'm not that person who can do 10
I'm with
different
you.
things. I
I'm
just
with you.
won't
I'm
do
like,
it.
Make it easy and yeah.
Make
Well,
it.
you know,
Will you tell
it
us how it got started, please, and like the food delivery and how that all just started?
Yeah, well, it started because, we were really lucky. Like at the time I was studying nutrition was really the forefront of, this was 2000, early 2010, 9 was really when the science behind the gut microbiome started to kind of hit how we understood the microbiome and how we should live based on what we understood about the microbiome. And, I was coming at health in a different way than Whitney was, but yet when you look at kind of gut-centered medicine, you start to understand the impact of the food you eat. Because I think sometimes, even today, even in the midst of this wellness surge that we're seeing, I think people still really have a hard time being like, okay, how does that banana I eat impact my mental health? How does it impact my skin clarity? And I think
No one
gut-centered
thinks
medicine,
like that. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, it really helps because it's like you understand that if there's a gut skin axis and there's a gut brain axis and there's a gut liver axis, that the gut really impacts every cell, every organ, every
my
function in our
goodness.
body. That what we eat might be one of the most important things that we can do for overall health. And so we started with food because I think that's where everyone needs to start. What are you doing to nourish every single day? What is on your plate? And we're all leading these insanely busy lives. There's a lot of nutrition noise out there about what to eat. And even at the time there always is, right? Because
Like the fad
we
diets,
have,
Yeah.
we have the human desire of, oh, there's one fad diet that I'm gonna do for a week is gonna change everything.
Like quick
And instead
fix.
of looking, instead of looking at like, what are the things I need to do every single day and put less emphasis on what you shouldn't do. So like we never tell you you shouldn't eat French fries or you shouldn't have wine. We say, here's what you should do. Here's the things you need to incorporate. And we made it really easy. So it's delivered straight to your door, ready to eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can choose your days. You can choose how many meals you want, or you can choose like a cleanse, something where we're like very prescriptive. And you're like, look, I've got 3 days, I've got 5 days, and I need a big change. But then even within that process, you're learning habits that you can keep and create and keep for life, because that's how we're going to impact your life the most, is if we can get at what are the things you're doing every single day, which then led us to, well, what else can people do to nourish? So it's like, okay, we have your food covered, but one, not everyone wants to do meals every day out of the year. And two, if you're traveling, what else can you do to nourish? And so we created these supplements as a way to really take away the noise. There's so much noise out there about what to do. I have friends who are popping like 16 pills from 16 different companies. And I'm like, girl, do you see
amount
all
of
the
vitamins that
overlaps?
we're all taking, and someone was like, you're taking them at all the wrong times, and like they don't mix right together. And I was like, what? I thought you just took
And
a bunch of vitamins.
one of the things that really kills me is when somebody tries to do something good and they end up doing something that's actually kind of detrimental and harmful. Like if you think about our poor livers, when we're taking all these different supplements that have
I
all
am
these different
guilty.
claims. I mean, we
Oh,
all are, right? It's like there's something in human nature where you want the answer to be in a small pill. I get that.
or is
Or
the
a
shot
shot.
like
Yes.
yes, because I have friends who are on it and are perfectly happy. I have friends that it actually didn't even work for. It's an interesting conversation.
But it doesn't change the core point, which is
Right.
it is so important what you do every single day to nourish your body. It doesn't take it away. You can still do all these other things to try and kind of get at your wellness, but it still matters what you do every single day. So our goal is to make those things really easy, really accessible, and really clear so you're not confused. Because I
Right.
think there's a lot of people these days that are like, how should I eat? What should I take? How do I take care of
Literally.
myself?
And I
Yeah,
think that's
there's a
why
lot of
Sakara is so
opinions.
cool, though. I think that's why it's just so important for women to know about it and in men and I think families, because imagine you start doing this with young kids at home that are watching, putting these nutritious foods in. Right now, it is so much easier. I'm guilty of it, of just ordering in or just picking up the fast food. And, you're seeing kids with a lot more issues. Let's be honest. Like, I have two boys in high school and the attention spans and the sugar intake, like, God knows what's going on. And there is something about what goes inside of your body does make you feel a certain way. And there is something about when you feel good, you look good, right? And when you look good, you feel good. And there is this new found hope with what you guys are doing, that it's simplifying something. It takes away the excuse. I think we can always have an excuse of like, it's too expensive, it's too hard, I don't have time. You guys are cutting the middleman out and saying, here's your food, just heat it up, please. You're fine. And here's the gummy that's going to help you.
Exactly.
But it's so simple. And I think that to me, simplicity is key in making things work.
It's like a
I
personal
mean,
chef and a nutritionist in one.
in one, when you get on the site for the food delivery, I was a stay at home mom and now I'm working. And it's like I'm finding it hard to find those healthy meals for everyone, to be brutally transparent. And to have something like this that it's the whole family can enjoy. This is not just for the adults. This is really like wellness for the whole family. And I think that's what's so important. Teach your kids young to eat well, to taste that food and to understand what that is. Because, like, again, you get addicted to all the crap.
I like to swap in. I look at the menu ahead and then I'll use my swaps in the app to swap into two of the same meal that I know that my 4-year-old loves to eat. And then I just toss those together in a saute pan. And then if I want to add something else, like pull some salmon out of the freezer, something like that, then I can
Right.
do
It's
that. But
easy.
I have this amazing, all organic, fresh meal that is ready in 5 minutes, because it's so hard to keep fresh produce, like source fresh produce, especially LA might be a little
Well,
different,
we can't get eggs
but
now, guys. It's a whole thing. It's very
but
hard here.
yeah, but then like doing the washing and the chopping and the prepping and making the recipes and making it taste good, making it nutritionally designed is hard when you are trying to just be in charge of
Multitask.
so many things in your life. Like our clients are busy women who are mothers and taking care of elderly parents now and have a busy career and a social life and trying to be a part of the community and all of these different things. It's a lot of pressure and they need to look good and are trying to negotiate
Right.
a relationship with their spouse at a later stage of life, which is a whole thing.
I mean, that's an
So
entire another podcast that we could have on that because it's so true.
we're like, let us just help you a little bit, take care of you and help you feel good and help you look good so that you feel good.
It's so true. There's so many different options, right?
Yeah, you can really find a program that fits your lifestyle. So we have people that are on every week out of the year and like keep the food in their fridge. And then we have people who come for a week out of the month, which is like a intense gut rebuild.
Okay.
And then we have our signature
It's
nutrition, which
amazing.
is definitely a cleanse for someone, our
Really?
signature. But then, it can also just be like what you have in the fridge waiting for you. Like for somebody that came from disordered eating patterns, having something in the fridge waiting for me and I don't have to think about it, like the food noise that went away from me
Yes.
is so life-changing.
Even with kids, there's a food noise because I'm constantly panicked about what's for dinner. Or my mom, where I'm like panicked on a weekend because what is she going to eat and it needs to be healthy.
It's so
It's
overwhelming.
so overwhelming that you feel anxiety and then you make something quick and ridiculous and something not good for you because you just
Or
want
you
to be
think about
done.
yourself last, like you're always
Right.
last. You're going to take
Right.
care of your loved ones first, whoever they are, whether you have kids or not. And that's just kind of how women are built. And I'm so grateful that we're the caretakers, and I love being a caretaker.
What would you say if somebody was just getting started, they're feeling overwhelmed and they're listening to this and they're like, okay, this is my aha moment. I want to really try this. What would you say is your best, like that go to, if you're first going to try it or that first step into it? What would you guys recommend?
I can tell you my version. Whitney might have a different one.
Okay.
I would say go for our 5-day signature nutrition program and add on our protein smoothies. They're really delicious to just like have in the fridge. You can have it as a snack. You can have it as your breakfast and then eat the breakfast a little later, depending on kind of like what you like.
Okay.
And then I'd say add on our metabolism bites, because the metabolism bites, if you're somebody who has a lot of food noise or has cravings or is going through hormonal changes, whether it's, perimenopausal, postpartum, whatever it is, it works at the hormonal level because it impacts our serotonin and our dopamine, which is directly affected to our sugar cravings and our reward center. So if you're somebody who has food noise, it can really, really help with that and really impact the kinds of foods that you crave. So if you're worried this kind of lifestyle change might be hard, I'd say adding those into the program will be really effective.
Again, my husband loves them. Like for real,
and they're delicious.
They are, and he has like that little bit of that food noise too. Believe it, men have it too, ladies. It's not just
Of course.
us.
Yes.
And my
yes.
husband likes to snack late at night, honestly. And he's like, I have to stop this. And he's like, I really haven't been feeling the cravings or that noise. And I was like, it's so amazing when you can just be.
They have saffron in them, which for me, I feel like my heart just feels lighter when I take them,
Yeah.
that I just feel a little bit happier throughout the day.
Yeah.
I'm not as irritated or irritable.
Yeah.
And saffron's also an aphrodisiac, which like part of
ladies,
metabolism
what?
is like having energy and that life force.
You're welcome, ladies.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What?
Yeah. Danielle was telling me about that. And I'm like, oh, well, that explains why I'm feeling this way.
That's amazing. Wait, okay, Whitney, what would be your starter pack if you were just going to start today?
I think if you are already a pretty healthy eater, but maybe you're in menopause and you don't feel like yourself, then I would go for our level 2 detox. It's a 5-day program that just is a game changer. It resets your body. It can reset kind of your set point, reduces inflammation. So after I did it most recently, people were like, what did you do? You look different. Did you lose weight?
Right.
And I get on the scale and I'm actually the same weight, but I look thinner because I lost inflammation out of my body.
You guys, inflammation is like a killer right now. I feel like everything hurts. My joints hurt, my lower back hurts. It's like when you're saying there are signs, you start to really wonder because all of my joints are starting to hurt. I mean, I am 53 and things, but like that, those 2 bulging discs, it starts to like weigh on your body. And is this helpful for things like that? Like is joint pain and muscular, is that all part of a little bit of what you're eating too?
Absolutely.
What?
I mean, inflammation can be directly kind of pinpointed to your diet. Absolutely.
What do you guys recommend? What's your routine?
I would get up in the morning and brush my teeth and take a shot of our daily elixir, our liquid multivitamin, and do my skincare routine. So our liquid multi, it's designed to sit on your bathroom counter with your skincare, and it's in this beautiful bottle that looks like skincare.
It's beautiful.
So you don't have to hide it. It just sits with your skincare, which you're not going to forget your skincare. Like it's right there in front of you, and it's important. So supplements don't work if you don't take them. So we made it to just go right there so you remember it, you can take it, tastes good.
Okay, so you do the multivitamin on an empty stomach. Because you guys, what's in the multivitamin in the morning?
It covers an array of the vitamins and minerals you need on a daily basis. So like vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, but then it also has whole food complexes that decrease inflammation. So we have an antioxidant blend, and then we have a whole food blend that has things like kelp and other greens, etc. So it's meant to replace your multivitamin, but we got a lot of feedback that people are sick of taking like 6 to 8 pills for their multivitamin.
It's true.
And that people would forget. And so this way you take a single shot, it's delicious. It has like a minty kind of lemony flavor. So you can do it before you brush your teeth or after. And you take the shot and you're done. And
you're
then
done
you don't
for
have
the
to
day,
think about
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it has things like methylfolate, so you're going to get that kind of energy boost
Oh, it's
too.
the best.
Yeah, and so I like to do it in the morning. Then I love our sexy cinnamon rolls
Ooh.
because, especially if you've been on a roller coaster with food and your connection to food, sometimes those types of things can feel like, oh, I can never eat a cinnamon roll
Yeah.
ever. But ours are healthy and delicious and good for you. And then I would do probably after that, I would eat my metabolism bites
You
between meals.
Yep.
So like give it a little time. I also I love to have matcha in the morning. Danielle's a coffee girl. I'm into soy milk right now. I think Danielle and I are both into soy milk. Like it went out of style for a while
I
and
know. I heard it
everybody
wasn't good for you. Am I wrong? Like I feel like every day is a whole. Now I heard oat
I know.
milk's out. Like I don't know
oat
what
milk's
to take.
out.
Oat milk is
And
out, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
And
It's so
soy milk is
confusing.
great. Really high in protein, bunch
Oh,
of
it is.
different
Okay, good.
great
minerals.
polyphenols.
The
Yeah.
the idea of like the phytoestrogens impacting estrogen has like been disputed. Like
Okay.
all that science
Debunked.
has been disputed. Yeah.
Okay. When is your
Um,
biggest meal? Do you guys do like lunch or dinner? Or does it matter?
they're similar in size. Lunches are typically more salad based.
Yeah.
They're so that they can be eaten cold and on the run. So like I love our Italian chopped salad, which
Good
Yes.
one.
is a fan favorite for sure. But and then for dinner, those ones are more like the heatable
Yeah.
meals, but they all just take 2 to 5 minutes heating up on your
And that's
stove.
it, right? It's that simple.
Yeah. And I love our Umami Please bowl, which has a pumfu, which is a pumpkin tofu, has slices of pumfu in it, which is just so delicious and
That's so
also a
fun.
great protein source. But with that one, my son is obsessed, so I have to get two of those, and or else he's going to eat all of mine.
That's
Um,
so cute. So the kids really do eat it. It's just simple and easy and it's different meals. So it's not the
yeah,
same thing over and over again. And it actually opens
And
their palates up too, doesn't it?
exactly. And there's literature that shows that the more different kinds of plants you get into your diet on a weekly basis, the more microbial diversity you have in your gut. And one of the markers of a healthy gut is having a diversity of types of bacteria.
Oh
And the
gosh.
way you do that is by getting different kinds of fibers, antioxidants from plant sources. And but typically people have like 8 to 12 things that they put on their plate, like kale, quinoa, avocado.
Right.
And we're all creatures of habit. And so there was a study that showed that you should get at least 30 different plant sources
Wow.
in
onto
a
your
week.
plate in a week. Yeah.
I
And most people are getting under 15,
was going to say
if
it's like
that.
two or three sometimes. I mean,
Oh,
literally, if you think
yeah.
about what people are really eating, like, I mean, half of the meals are fast food or order or takeout.
And if you're somebody who eats a lot of ultra processed food, that's like going to be corn, basically
Yeah.
processed corn, soy, or wheat.
I know you wonder why we all have so many gastro issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, and can we just talk about one other thing quickly of what
Yes.
happens when you start eating soft processed foods, or
What?
if like chicken and cheese and soft bread or things like that or become your main food sources, you start losing the strength in your jaw and in your tongue muscles. And so what's happening is our society is starting to get these underdeveloped jaws. This is something that Danielle is always talking about. But
What? Hold on.
Yeah. And so then your sinuses don't grow. And so then you mouth breathe and then you have oral issues.
Is
And
that why
then,
we're all wearing mouth tape right
cavities,
now? I'm wearing
yes.
mouth
And then
tape
your
every
oral
night.
microbiome is connected to heart attacks and it's all connected.
It's
And
yeah,
we're
so we
meant to
need to,
breathe through our noses and eat
and
through
we
our
need to be
mouths.
eating food that is, people are like, oh, it takes me all day to eat through one of your salads. We're like, yeah, because you have to actually sit down and chew it.
point is really sitting and eating that full meal is what your body needs because we pick at it, we don't eat enough. And I know all the people taking the shortcuts, and there's no judgment. You do whatever you need to do. You talk to your doctor, but you're seeing people eating much less, if anything. So you're probably just
Yeah,
starving your body at this point,
yeah,
right?
I
happens
mean,
all the time.
So there's no
yeah.
nutrition going in. I mean, I've seen people that are just like they stopped eating.
And they think that maybe that's a good thing for them if they're skipping meals or not eating as much.
Because they
But
look good. So you're thinking that, but
but
you're
you
not seeing
can
inside.
And you can eat a ton of food and feel full and be nourished and still maintain your ideal weight.
Right.
It is possible.
Like we don't need to
when you eat
torture
the right
ourselves,
food.
right, ladies? Ladies, we don't
It should
need
be
to
the opposite. It should be the opposite.
like
That was like
it's
the big unlock for me. It was after I started eating this way, it was like, oh, food is there to make me look and feel better, not the opposite, which is what I thought. We're not taught to look at food as medicine. We're taught to look at food as calories. Then we completely take out the notion that our bodies do work other than output of energy. Like how we get energy from our food is a very complex cellular process. We're talking about glycolysis and the electron transport chain and making ATP. And those are the building blocks of your cells. You're the food you eat.
right.
And so it matters whether you get 500 calories from broccoli or you get 500 calories from potato chips. And it's not to say you can never eat potato chips, but when you're talking about, you're thinking about like, what am I going to focus on? What am I going to fill my plate with? That's why we talk about like what you do eat is way more important than what you don't eat. And to really focus on abundance.
You can eat a lot of what's good for you.
We need to start to cultivate what Whitney and I call body intelligence. And this is something that has been robbed from us because of the kind of like big agro, ultra processed food. It literally intercepts our body's ability to know when we're full, to know when we're craving something. I remember all the magazines like on the cover, it'd be like craving this, learn how to like curb cravings. And it's like, actually, our bodies signal to us all the time, and we need to learn how to listen. We need to build a body that's giving us the right signals and then learn how to listen. And we've been so taught to like not listen. And imagine it's like, how did we survive for this long without our Oura ring and science? And it's like, it's because we listened and we knew when to eat and when not to eat. That's why we created the metabolism bite, because we know that ultra processed food has been engineered to intercept the process of when we think we're full, the hormonal process.
So that's what it is. It kind of blocks that voice that's telling you like you're not hungry, that's just a crate, whatever. That's literally blocking it so that you keep eating.
Exactly. And I don't know if you've seen that, but they're even working on engineering food to get past GLP-1 drugs.
No, please tell me you're joking.
And to like hit your reward center. It's complex, and when our food system is based on dollars alone and
the pharmaceutical companies, they really want you to be sick.
It's a business model. With the wrong carrot at the end. It's like, when our goal is not to keep people healthy, then like it's going to be a conflict of interest eventually. So it's unfortunate. And it's not to say there is not a right time for pharmaceutical drugs, or if you're on GLP-1 drugs, like that's inherently bad. Of course, we're not saying that, but it doesn't change the fact that what you eat every single day matters.
It does. It's like, even if you're on that, I know I have friends who are on it and they have to learn how to eat right.
Exactly.
And especially if you're on a GLP-1, you need to be thinking about what you are eating. Because you're eating less, you need to be eating
the
foods that are higher quality, higher in nutritional value. So getting those nutrient-dense foods that are filled with antioxidants and polyphenols and all the micronutrients that are going to help your cells. Like if we're talking about longevity and continuing to keep our health later into life, you need to care about cellular health. And that's really where getting enough plants especially comes into play. We're not one to say, don't eat meat or anything like that. We're saying, let's make sure you're getting enough plants into your body, enough different colors, different antioxidants, polyphenols, different plant fibers to feed your gut microbiome, all those things you need, the micronutrients and the macronutrients as well. But that becomes a really big part of what you need to be looking at when you're on a GLP-1.
Yeah, that's actually fascinating. It's so true, because you're not eating. So if you're going to eat, you better make it healthy and really nutritious.
You better make it good.
It better make it good. Ladies, I want to tell you something really interesting, just because for our listeners, just to show you how important what you put in you. We have a Pomeranian who had alopecia. This is for real. Aww. He lost all his hair. He was a puppy, lost all of his hair. We had a vet tell us literally to change his food, right? There was a specific food that I just heard it works, whatever. All of his hair is grown back. He's fluffier than ever. And I literally looked at my husband. I was like, all we did was change the food. Like it was just the food. He lost all of his hair, or he has gorgeous, thriving hair. I'm like, if that doesn't say everything and
It's
scare the
like,
crap out of us.
why do we have such a hard time imagining that our food impacts our health span, our longevity, how we feel when we wake up in the morning, when we know if we take NyQuil or aspirin, we feel it within 30 minutes. Like it's because what goes into your digestive tract hits you systemically, no matter what. Like that's just what
Right.
happens, you know? Like our body's going to do its best to break it down into the constituent parts it needs, and it's going to impact you. And so the notion that food is just calories, it's like when you think about it intuitively, you can understand why in a lab where you're looking at a fixed system and you're measuring input versus output, why calories kind of could be a useful tool, but it's a tool in your toolkit. It's not the end all be all. So if you're looking at food just as calories, you're not understanding what nourishment truly is. Like that's where we talk about the idea of nutrition versus like nourishment and understanding the difference between 500 calories of pumpkin tofu
Yeah.
versus,
Like fried chicken or
potato
whatever. I mean, who
chips.
knows? Yeah.
The thing about alopecia is it's an autoimmune condition.
Mm-hmm.
And like we've seen a number of our clients tell us and share their results with us of like having Hashimoto's and having their antibody levels drop dramatically
Really? Yeah.
when they're on Sakara consistently,
Yeah.
as they're reducing that inflammation, they're reducing their toxic load, or rheumatoid arthritis, which is another autoimmune condition, and having great success. They're managing their symptoms, reducing their pain levels,
Wow.
again, through reducing inflammation and toxic load in their body. So
Can I ask you
I think there's
selfishly,
definitely something to it.
like the joint pain I'm feeling or like the lower back, do you think it would be helped by like with food?
100%. I mean, there are like when patients come with rheumatoid arthritis, you put them on a specific meal plan that lowers inflammation.
Really? So there is a meal plan specifically for lowering, because now I'm like, my mind is blown because I'm kind of thinking maybe I'm not eating things that are helping because my back hurts all the time. And it's like I'm doing all the
I would
PT.
say you should try our level 2.
Okay.
I would say you should try our level 2, and I
See how
think
you feel. Interesting. Ladies,
you'll
tell me
feel a
about the
big
book.
difference.
Can you tell me a little bit about the book and the podcast?
Yeah, and when was our cookbook, Whit?
2019.
Tell us about it, because
2019.
people who haven't read it,
Pregnant
I
on
think
the
it's a
cover.
good way of getting informed.
No, it's our like heart and soul on pages.
Oh,
It's basically the first half of the book is it goes into our personal stories. It goes deeper into our nutritional philosophy,
Yeah.
our pillars of nutrition. And then the second half of the book is recipes that are actually straight out of our delivered nutrition program. So there's some of our greatest hits in there. I wouldn't call it a recipe book for beginners, but some really amazing things in there for all levels.
I think for someone who's not aware, it's a great way of getting to know you guys and just having that option of like what to do.
And our podcast, like you mentioned, the Sakara Life podcast, we're bringing on guests who are experts that we're listening to and learning from. And then we take that information and it helps to inform our new products or our nutrition philosophies and standards.
Anything you've learned recently, like anybody that you've kind of been surprised? I'm sure you see it all, hear it all. Like, is there anything that you're kind of like, oh?
I mean, we've known her for a long time, but Dr. Terry Walls, I think, continues to be a pioneer in the field of how food impacts chronic disease. So she cured herself of MS. She was a kind of allopathic conventional doctor, found out she had MS, followed the conventional medical protocol, ended up in a wheelchair. So decided to get to the literature and the research herself, figured out that she had not been eating the right foods, changed her diet, focused on gut health. A lot of the pillars of what she talks about are things that we talk about. So like making sure you're getting enough plant foods, making sure you're getting enough fiber, making sure you're getting sulfurous foods. Sulfur is really important for phase 2 detoxification. And now she's like not only is she walking healthy person, but she's deep on the research of how to reverse the symptoms of MS through diet.
You guys, that's like intense.
Mind blowing. Yeah, mind blowing.
That is insane to me. And the fact that we just like poo poo it away just because it's
I
so
know.
much
And
easier
just
to just take the
medicate.
pill. Yes. I mean, I'd be
Oh,
lying if I said I didn't do it too. And it's like now,
of
really,
course.
when the more and more you listen, the more and more you watch and learn, it really is mind blowing how much power and control we actually have.
And also, it's really hard when most doctors get zero education. I mean, almost zero education in nutrition. So you have, this whole fleet of
That's so
people who
true.
dedicated their lives to helping people get healthier, yet all they learned was pharmaceutical drugs and naming disease, naming and blaming, and then writing pharmaceutical
Right.
prescriptions. And a lot of them, it's starting to change. A lot of them are then going on to study functional medicine, but it's heartbreaking when you have all these people who wanted to help, who dedicated their lives to help, and definitely have the tools. I mean, thank God for allopathic medicine. Your parent has a heart attack or you get hit by a bus, like thank God it's
Of
there.
course.
But when
Yeah.
we look to chronic disease and health span, we need other tools. And these doctors are not given those tools unless they go on to study functional medicine or something like
Do
that.
you see a shift happening? Do you guys are starting to see a shift? Are you guys
It's
seeing,
slow, but
yeah,
yes.
Slow.
So things like
slow,
Parsley
right?
Health and other functional medicine platforms where at least doctors understand the kind of foundational principles of what makes a whole healthy body and
Yeah.
human. And you go into, understanding like how were you born? Were you born, vaginal or a C-section? Were you breastfed? That all that matters in terms of like how you feel right now. And your doctor needs to know.
Oh my God,
So,
I feel like I have to go reanalyze my entire life. You
yeah, if you
guys,
see a
I don't even
functional
know what to
medicine,
say.
if
My
you
mind's
see
blown.
so I have my master's in functional medicine, and if you see a functional medicine practitioner, they'll take you through what's called the functional medicine matrix. Well, they'll ask you all of those questions like, what has your life been like? When was the last time you felt healthy? And start to understand whether it's trauma or being in a car accident, or you changed zip codes, or you changed your house, or you were around a lot of construction
Right.
as a kid. It's like all these things matter when you're looking at your blood work right now.
Right. Oh
Yeah,
my
and
goodness.
I think one of the kind of barriers for this to become more massly accepted is doctors, rightly so, are very evidence based and they want to see the studies, but studies are often paid for by big pharma or whoever is going to benefit from the outcome of those studies. And so we need more studies on health, food, nutrition, lifestyle, so that doctors have that evidence and can implement it more into their practices.
That's why when
So,
I watch the Blue Zone documentary, it does make you stop and think that the common denominator on every single place is food and movement and community, right? But
Yeah.
it's like the pillars. What are the pillars that you guys see as the most important for overall health?
I mean, I think we look at it as like the foundation is like the body. So,
mhm.
how we're nourishing the body, and you do that with movement, food, exercise.
Yep.
And then there's like who we surround ourselves with. One thing Whitney and I talk about a lot, though, is like our connection to our more spiritual side. So, whether you're religious
Yeah.
or not, a connection to something bigger than ourselves directly impacts how worthy we think we are of nourishment, the choices that we make every single day, what we ritualize, what we don't. And I think our disconnect to our plate has really impacted, our connection to
So
something
true.
bigger because we buy lemons at the grocery store, we buy chips in a bag. We're no longer in the soil watching like the magic of Mother Nature. And so we take it for granted and we don't really understand that there's magic out there.
Hey,
So
Danielle,
I
you're going to
think,
be so proud of us. We bought a lemon tree yesterday.
oh my God. Amazing. So you're going
I
to get to
was
watch the magic
I'm
yourself.
not joking. We were so because I love lemon. I love lemon on everything and anything. I just feel like I don't know why I think it's so good for you in detoxing. I'm not sure if I'm right,
It
but I
is.
just love
Vitamin
lemon.
C is really
Right?
important.
It's my favorite. And my husband and I, like, we used to have a garden and we had like all of our veggies, like strawberries and string beans. And
Mm,
it's one of those things that, like, you do forget how amazing it is to walk outside and go pick or
yeah.
have your kids go grab a strawberry. And you're like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
when did we get
Yeah.
so busy and so important that we just stopped taking care of ourselves? That's the truth because we really
That's the
have.
truth.
And you're so right. It became uncomfortable because weight's such an issue with women that even food, dating, like women don't want to eat in front of a man because then it's like like this whole weird conversation around food has destroyed it for us.
Yep.
And we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back, ladies, with you too, one day at a time. What's coming up next for you guys? Any secrets you can let out to little old me?
Well, I think that it will continue to work on, so like the meal as like the core, but then figuring out like how can we help you through other moments in your life, whether it's different chapters or different like windows of your day, to take away the noise and make it not only easy but enjoyable. Like the metabolism bites are delicious. Like taking care of ourselves
are great, and
shouldn't be eating cardboard or like doing things that suck.
Or like something with energy. I love Asian ginseng. It's something that I take every day just because I'm, and as a mom, busy, you're exhausted. I'm just going to request some sort of an energy dropper.
Okay.
Besides the multivitamin is amazing, but there's something in that Asian ginseng, whatever, that we take, and I'm like swear by it. I don't know if it's really working, but something that like in the middle of the day, I don't want to drink coffee because I don't want to be up all night, but I need I need a jump for dinner and like to keep functioning. So I'm just putting it out there that I'm desperate for that.
This is part of how we create products, is by listening to our clients and what are you going through and what are your pain points and what are your needs and how can we bring the latest and greatest in science and the best of nature and sourcing those ingredients to create something that solves that problem for you, but then also tastes good and fits into your lifestyle and is easy to take and use.
I'm going to beg you guys for that. I'm begging you guys for that. And I want to say, if you're going to pick one, if you're going to say what the best anti-inflammatory food, I know that's a hard question, but like, is there something that is your go-to that you think is great for anti-inflammatory that women can start doing today?
I would say add greens to everything.
Add greens
to everything that you're doing. If you're eating a slice of pizza, put some arugula on top. Like adding greens are incredibly detoxifiers.
Antioxidants, thinking about getting enough colors. Like each day, are you getting enough colors into your diet? If I don't have my Sakara meals and I feel like I'm not getting enough colors, I'm going to make a smoothie and put wild blueberries in there. I get my blues, put some blue-green spirulina into it, get the blues and greens.
Or to stick to some colors.
Yeah, getting those colors, because those colors are going to help your body in so many different ways, but also to give you energy and give you those antioxidants that are just so crucial and I think aren't talked about enough.
Right. You guys, it has been, I have to go reanalyze my entire life. I have to go I'm going to clean out the entire fridge closet. I'm yelling at everyone. I'm like, it really is true that you kind of feel frustrated with yourself. That it's like, why don't you take it a little more seriously? And like,
but
it's
honestly, don't. It's so hard. Like our entire lives are literally like built up to make taking care of ourselves quite difficult. And so that's why we're here, to make it easy. It's not easy when you go to the grocery store and 80% of what you see isn't good for you.
It really is hard. It's overwhelming. And then you're just kind of like, then you start ordering because you're like, I can't deal with it. And but that's why I think this is why it's so genius, you guys. And I so appreciate you guys being on and discussing, because
thanks for having us.
Honestly, like I'm blown away by you guys. If you guys are looking to have a way of looking and feeling your best, but also just knowing that you're taking care of your family, you're taking care of the people that you love with the best nutrition, I think that's just something that's invaluable. It's never a waste of money to take care of yourself. So Danielle, Whitney, thank you so much for all you do. Us ladies really appreciate you. Where can everybody find you guys?
Well, the podcast is the Sakara Life Podcast, and you get that on your Apple Podcast or Spotify. And our website is just sakara.com, SAKARA.com.
And the book is called
Eat Clean, Play Dirty, which we didn't even talk about, but I think you get that philosophy that you are what you do the majority of the time. Eat clean, but also joy is a nutrient. So make sure you're having fun and not putting too much stress or guilt or pressure on yourself.
Oh, wait, I love that. So, say that again. Right. So it's dirt. It's like you can still have fun, right? Like still have some good old dirty old fun, but that's the whole theory behind it.
You want to make sure you're taking care of yourself so that when you go out and do something that's a little bit on the dirty side, your body can handle it and that you're resilient.
Oh my God, I love that. Guys, we need to go out and do something dirty and then feel fabulous doing it.
And then we love to share information on our social media.
Yes.
I'm just at Whitney Tingle and Danielle is at Danielle Dubois.
So you guys follow them. You guys, it's the best information, but also just try, you guys. Just look into it, try it, get some information. I think once you try it, you could, like, once you start feeling good, you can never go back. And I think that's the thing. It's getting you just to feel good. And then you're going to be like, what was I thinking? What was I doing? So you guys, please check out Sakara Life. It's unbelievable. I'm honored to talk to you guys, to meet you guys. Honestly, it's been an incredible conversation. And I'm really going to rethink a lot of things, which honestly, I'm really excited about. It's like there is something about now I want to live as long as possible. Whereas you were so frivolous before, you kind of thought you'd last forever. And now we're seeing that it's actually really precious, and we're so lucky to be here. And I want to enjoy it as long as possible. So thank you guys for doing the hard work. Really appreciate you both.
Thanks, Caroline.
Thank you guys. Bye, you guys. We'll be back next week with Coming In Hot. Please follow, like, review. Check out my amazing new friends, Danielle and Whitney. It's amazing. You guys check out Sakara Life, and we'll be back next week. Love you guys. Thank you for listening. Mwah. Bye.